Sing it, which is difficult with like a bird on a wire. You can't.
There are some problems in this thing. I tried to address the problem by putting some of the stuff as prose, which would just alter the time frame or alter the references, so you could read it in a different way. Some of it is more successful than others. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
How many pieces approximately are in the book, do you think, or in your work that were written as poems and became songs after? Does that happen a lot?
Not too often. Generally, they're born in poverty together, like a word or two, a chord change, and kind of limp along very slowly to a conclusion, but I don't think there are any that actually, maybe Avalanche was written as a poem first.
Is the book darker? Is it a dark version of your work? Did you?
You mean the selection?
Yeah, the selection. Did you do? Is there?
I don't know. I haven't lived with this very long. I haven't gotten too many responses of it from it. There's been one or two reviews that have come out. There was a review in the Gazette that was a kind of disappointed tone to it, that I'd offended him in some way by leaving out some poems, and there were two positive reviews in the Toronto newspapers, and then there's been, that's about it.
But did you try to put a dark coloration in, or
no.
in any way, or were you aware that you were choosing?
No,
there's a lot of Death of a Ladies' Man in it.
Well, I thought Death of a Ladies' Man is probably my strongest work. So Energy of Slaves and Death of a Ladies' Man, I thought were, books that were never seen in an objective light. So, and books I always liked the best of everything I did.
Never seen an objective light because you were, as they were coming out, you were also being
something like that, or I don't know what, but they weren't reviewed at all in a lot of places. I mean, they didn't sell. They weren't reviewed. I mean, they had no presence at all, hardly. So, and I thought they were strong right now. I mean, it's very agreeable, and I'm very grateful that I'm hot again. But that is going to pass away, and this book is going to be there, and I wanted it to have its own specific gravity, and I think it's there, and I think it will be able to weather, whatever the conditions of my chart position is.
Tell me a bit about Roshi, because there are poems.
Oh yeah, Roshi's a nice old guy, and
he's your teacher, or is that quite the right?
Well, I
thing
think
to
he's
say?
given up teaching. I'm getting on for 60, and I've been studying with him for 25 years, and
how do you study with him? I mean, he doesn't have a blackboard. I take it.
Well, it's a curious enterprise, this investigation of the self, and he's given up trying to educate me in what he knows about the self, and we generally drink now together. And, I go down to the meditation hall early in the morning, and often Roshi then invites me over to his cabin, for a drink at about 6:30 in the morning. And that's very pleasant, to begin the day that way with a few Japanese pickles and a glass of cognac.
But when you go to the meditation house, or the shul, as you've been known to call it, you talk? I mean, is there form to it? Or?
No, there's a very strict form, but the form is just involved in enforcing silence. So it's a nice place you can sit, you're not going to be disturbed. That really is all that a zendo or meditation hall is. There's absolutely no sound there. People even have to breathe softly, or they're beaten with a paddle. And it takes place early in the morning when there's not too much activity in the world. And it's a place you can go to sit quietly, and that's all it is. There's no prayerful worship. There's no discussion about theology. There's no examination of whether there is or there is not a dog. And
how do you spell God, by the way? You're not good at that. You leave a letter out all the time.
That's a tradition. That's a Jewish tradition.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not to write the name of God.
I didn't know that. My apologies.
Not at all. But you know, the four letters that appear in Hebrew are never articulated. They spell something else, but the word is said as Adonai, you know, which is not the word that is written. It's as if you saw God and you said, you know, Joe, because that is unnameable and unspeakable, so it's never spoken. That's why in English the G-D is the reference to that practice.
I like that. And I just learned that. Do you want to do another poem?
Okay.
How about You Have No Form?
This is a tricky poem. It's a sonnet.
It actually is a sonnet.
Yeah.
A, B, and everything.
Mm-hmm. Who chose this? Ian?
Yeah.
He is. He's a good eye.
Let me explain. So there's no mystery. Ian Pearson is the producer who does most of all of our literary things now. Has worked on.
And he did a wonderful article about me. You have no form. You move among, yet do not move, the relics of exhausted thought, of which you are not made, but which give world to you, who are of nothing made, nothing wrought. There you long for one who is not me, O queen of no subject, newer than the morning, more antique than first seed dropped below the wash, where you are called an Adam born. And here, not your essence, not your absence, weds the emptiness which is never me, though these motions and these formless events are preparation for humanity. And I get up to love and eat and kill, not by my own, but by our married will.